What's up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, here to on health and social well-being. And today I'm taking you through day 2 of my 4-day program, my new programming, where I'm trying to emphasize hypertrophy while still maintaining, if not potentially building up, the big 3 as far as squat, bench, and deadlift, maximizing the craft. You know what I'm saying? And today, so far things feel really, really good. As you guys know, I've gone down from 5 bench days a week to 3 days. And this second day is kind of, in a way, combining some of the volume of the ascending 3x8 close grip bench day that I had on Monday with the secondary intensity bench day that I have on Wednesday. So the part that's similar to the intensity bench day I had on Wednesday is that I still have my my 2-count top set first. So today's a 2-count double. I took the top end of the range, 130 kilos, and then I repeat that weight for a comp set, whether it be a comp single or double. In this case, it's a comp double. So I took 130 for my 2-count top set, and then I also took it for my normal double after that. Then I have a top set of 7. I hit that with the high in the range, 120 kilos. And then I had 3x7 back downs where I ended up going with the lighter end of the range, 110, where I could have done 110 to 112 and a half. I did 110 for the same reasons I told you guys last video, where I'm pushing the top end on my top sets and going with the lower end on my back down so I can prioritize more energy for pushing the big accessories. So as far as today, accessory works, we got weighted dips. And it's gonna be fun because instead of like the typical top set of 6, that eventually goes down to 5s and 4s, and then 2 back down sets of 12s, and only get as low as 10s, we actually have a top set of 5 to start, and we have 2 back down sets of 8. So for my 2 back down sets of 10, the heaviest I got up to was 115 pounds, so I'll probably start with 120 pounds today, at least for the 2x8. And then for the top set of 5, we're just gonna try to push it to an appropriate load for the RP given. Then after that, we've got pull downs, 3 sets of 12 to high exertion, rows, 3 sets of 12 to high exertion, chest press, which I have missed chest press. I haven't had that consistent in a while, for 3 sets of 12 to high exertion. So I'll be showing you guys, the first and last sets of each of those, so you can see like the lower exertion set and then the high exertion set. And then we've got AM reps for everything else, like the direct shoulder work, the arm work. So should be a good time, man. And honestly, shouldn't be a reason for much talking. Like, y'all kind of already know the layout from a couple of videos ago. Let's just get it done. All right, guys, so I lied. There is one thing I need to tell you guys very quickly, and then no more talk, just work. But on the weighted dips, you guys can see, I'm no longer doing pause weighted dips. I'm going back to just the traditional weighted dips. Still getting a nice 4-range of motion, still controlling the eccentric, make sure I lock at the top, but I'm no longer pausing at the bottom. And the reason for that is, well, there's really 2 reasons. The first one is just the fact that the whole reason why I was pausing is because it gave me a little bit better carryover to the bench press. Like having that pause position at the bottom and driving through just helped me feel more prepared for doing the same thing on bench. But reason number 2, which is the more important reason, is that the reason I was pausing was also to just regulate the loads. So that way I can hit certain exertions without having to go quite as heavy. So the weighted dips wouldn't cause too much interference with the bench press. But as you guys know, we're not worried about that at this point. I'm trying to push everything as hard as I can. So the fact that I can get away with doing more total load, right, and just push the weighted dip harder as a whole without the pause, that's why I'm doing that now. Plus, after hitting that 242 weighted dip last week, for a PR single with no pause, I'm just kind of back in the group like, okay, I really want to see what I can do without pausing and just pushing the overall workload and prioritizing the dip for the sake of the dip itself. So just wanted to clarify that. Now, for real, no more talking, just straight work. All right, guys, so workout is done. We are back at the crib, and honestly, I love training this way. It feels so good, man. Like just really going in, getting after these accessory movements, push them closer to failure, and just having more energy to push them because we're not going as aggressive on the big three right now. So I'm really enjoying it. Obviously, something that you guys are gonna notice, with this video, probably the previous video, the next couple videos, is I'm still kind of finding my groove for everything as far as like trying not to underestimate how hard I can push some of this stuff and where I actually need to be for the RPs. But the good news is it's week 1. We still have 3 more weeks to build upon this. And with each week, I'll get a better groove. And with each block, just push it harder and harder. So we're in a really good spot. And I'm just really happy with how things are going, really happy with how I'm feeling. I'm excited to just keep crafting away. With that being said, something I do want to touch on very briefly. I plan to eventually do a full deep dive into this topic, hopefully in collaboration with my boy Johnny Candido. But some of you might be wondering why it is I'm kind of have like this ascending RP approach on some of these bigger movements. Like, for example, instead of just having 2 sets of like RP 8 to 9, I'll have like, that initial set that's around maybe like an RP 6 or 7, depending on the movement. And then I'll have those, the second and third set, they're close to like, 8 to 9. Or maybe if it's 4 sets, I'll have like one set around like, RP7, the second set around like RP7, and then the last 2 around like 8 to 9. Like why I'm doing that versus just having the 2 harder sets. And I think the reason why a lot of people might be wondering that is because it's getting really popular throughout social media right now for people to have this idea of like, hey, just do like minimal sets, push them really hard, and that's enough. That's all you need. That's objectively the most optimal way to train for hypertrophy for growth. And I'm not saying that it's not an effective way to go about it, right? And depending on where you're at as far as training age, how much time you have available, there's even just your natural recovery and ability to recover based upon your recovery variables. There's so many factors that can go into what's optimal for a lifter. Some people can get away with more volume than others, but for me, it's basically looking at it from the standpoint of the research is very clear in showing us that even sets that aren't pushed super close to failure, like RP 9 or 10, can still be very effective for growth. Even like an RP 6 or 7 set can still be very effective for growth because that's still only 3 to 4 reps away from failure. And there's so much research to support that. So basically, the idea is, why would I do less total sets as far as just doing 2 really hard sets on a movement, for example, if I can do 3 total sets where maybe that first set isn't quite as hard, but I'm still getting something from it, and then I push the second and third set much harder. Like it doesn't have to be one extreme or the other. It doesn't have to be like just super minimal sets and just push those all really hard to failure. And it also doesn't have to be a bunch of junk volume where you have like, 20 plus sets on a muscle group, but most of them are like, RP5 or less work, right? You're having to like adjust the weight down so much because you're not getting really, you're not able to maintain that fitness overall, right? And that's kind of the idea. Like 3 sets to failure, right? Like on a certain movement might be quite a bit, might be a lot in terms of overall fatigue. So the idea could be like, oh, just do 2 sets of failure, or you could find the middle ground like I'm doing and hit that first set around like, let's say like RP 7 to 8, and then hit set 2 and 3 around like 8 to 9 or 9 to 10, depending on what the movement is, right? And it's just understanding that everyone's in a different spot. Like we have to think about it from this perspective. Let's just talk about for my chest growth, right? Keep in mind, guys, just for bench press, just for maintaining performance and trying to build the top end, and keep in mind, you can get away very often for a lot of people with doing like overall less work if it comes to just powerlifting and top end performance compared to how much you might need for hypertrophy and growth, at least in terms of how hard you're pushing to failure. But keep in mind, I had to bench 5 days a week with 23 total sets throughout the week just to get my bench to elevate up the way I want. Not even for chest growth, but just get my bench to elevate the way that we needed it to. So the idea that I'm gonna come in and just hit 2 really hard sets on one day and then maybe 2 really hard sets on another day for my chest and maximize growth just isn't the case. Once again, it's not to say that fewer sets and pushing them hard, closer to failure isn't effective, but once again, it doesn't have to be one or the other. I'm not telling everybody just to go crazy with junk volume, but I do think people need to understand that it's just, I don't want to say it's common sense, but if you just think about it, if you can do more and it's adequate stimulus, whether let's say it's RP 7 to like 9 work, right? If you can get away with doing more and recover from it, you're probably going to grow faster because you're doing more. The more workload that you can do while still recovering well, the more growth you're going to get versus doing less effective work and still getting some growth, but not as much as possible, or doing a whole lot of work that's not very effective and just inducing fatigue for no reason. Like I said, I plan on doing a much bigger, deeper dive into that topic, but I just wanted to keep that in mind. And once again, it depends on what move we're talking about. Like when it comes to that single joint stuff, as you guys can see, curls, press downs, lateral raises, I am pushing those to RP 9 to 10 across all 3 sets because they're smaller muscle groups and recover just fine. There's just no reason not to. But I just want to touch base on that very quickly, very briefly. I'm sure you guys are going to have your thoughts in the comments, and that's fine. Like I said, I do plan to tackle this topic with more, data and research and collaboration with Johnny, so we can really just break it down and kind of show like, hey, this might be best for this person, but this is probably more ideal for this person. If we're talking about just what's objectively best across the board, it's probably somewhere in the middle, but that's for another time. That's it for this video though. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go leave a comment down below, let me know what you did. If you did not, leave a comment down below, let me know what I can get better. Like the video, share, subscribe. Keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch you guys later.